Any random song or any particular song?
Emmanuel's Land. I don't know how it goes, but we'd have to sing it.
Yeah, I'm with Shane. I have no idea what the song sounds like, but
we can put up the lyrics.
I'm not sure how people be missing class. I'm not gonna lie. It's online.
This isn't a class I want to miss, anyways.
Honestly, I have had like the best attendance this week all semester.
I've been on time to all my classes.
I've been early for once.
Emmanuel's Land.
Oh boy.
How's it go, Mr. Manning? I don't know the tune.
It's kind of lonely here. Here, I'll sing it for you. Or here, I'll play it. Let's see if this playing works.
Amazon.com.
No,
I don't want to try anything. I'll just have to sing it. Oh, Christ, he is the fountain, the deep, sweet well of love. The streams on earth I've tasted, more deep I'll drink above.
Everyone.
And fuller than the ocean, his mercy doth expand, and glory, glory dwelleth in Emmanuel land.
Maybe if we sing it, Emmanuel will come.
That's how we
I
summon
hope
him.
he comes.
That's a famous Iowa movie. If we sing it.
If you sing it, Emmanuel will come.
Oh no, I hear a trumpet. Here comes Emmanuel.
Where you at, Emmanuel?
All right. Well, when he comes in, we'll give him a big cheer. Any questions about what's going on so far? Are you comfortable with what you have on your PC for being able to work with Excel?
360. All the way.
Okay, so 365, right? Not 360.
My bad.
I don't even know if there's a 360. It might be an old version, but
why is it called 365?
Days in a year.
If you run into troubles, we'll try to work with 365 because you're doing about the same things.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I want to review a little bit and play around with the interface, get you really comfortable with the interface. And I'm going to put them up side by side, 365 and Excel. So I'm going to pop over to Excel here. And I'm going to put it on the left half of my screen. Did you know if you drag a window and drag it to the edge, it will become half the screen? And I can do that with the browser here.
You look like a barrel.
And I'm going to bring up Office, and I'll do Office 365 on this side.
Okay.
Office looks like it's remembering from before.
Oh, it's a cube. I need to know.
So here is Excel.
Will Access work on 365?
I don't even know if they have Access on 365.
No.
We'll have to figure something out.
No.
Let's see. I have to remember my password now. Oh, I think I do. Okay, so here is, oh, look at it. He remembers my last sheet. Now, one of the things we can do in Excel is start a new worksheet within our workbook. A workbook can have one or many sheets. I'm going to click on the little plus symbol to give me a new sheet inside my workbook. I'm just putting them side by side just to compare the look of them.
Where's the plus symbol?
Down on the bottom next to your sheet titles. I'm going to double click my ribbon so it'd use my home ribbon. And let's see, if I zoom in, my ribbon doesn't enlarge, but my cells do enlarge.
Oh my God.
Excel 365, let's see if I right click and roll, it enlarges my ribbon as well, which is kind of annoying for me. I'd rather just enlarge a part of it rather than this whole ribbon. So the ribbons look decently the same. I'm guessing this is kind of small showing on your screens, but we're not going to worry about that. Going to play around with practicing with formulas on a new worksheet. And let's just put in some numbers here for practice. A 1 and a 2. Now, if I want to continue that sequence of numbers, I can select them both. And now when I grab that fill handle, it will keep counting for me. Isn't that pretty cool? Let's do that again. Let's try 1, and then let's try a 5. Select them both, let go, grab the fill handle, and keep going. Can you guess what it's going to show? Increasing by 4 each time. So it's automatically increasing by the amount each time. Let's do something else. Let's
Can
start
you
with a
zoom
1
into
here.
the numbers, please?
What's that?
Could you zoom in to the numbers?
Oh, yes.
Did you guys even notice who's in the group now?
Emmanuel.
Oh, Christ, he is the fountain, the deep, sweet well of love. The streams on earth I've tasted, more deep I'll drink above. There to an ocean fullness his mercy doth expand, and glory, glory floweth. All together. In
Emmanuel's
land. Welcome, Emmanuel. Glad you made it.
Hey, 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 hey.
Speak, Emmanuel.
Thank you.
There we go.
How is Emmanuel's land doing? Everything good in Emmanuel's land?
Yeah.
You know, would anyone recognize that joke except for Brethren? Does anyone else know that song, Emmanuel's Land?
No.
Okay, let me, since you couldn't see the numbers before, let me erase those and show you that again. That if you ever have a sequence of numbers, you want to continue whatever sequence you started, select them both, let go, grab the fill handle, and it'll continue whatever sequence that represented. Here, select them both, let go, grab the fill handle, and it continues increasing by 4 each time.
Oh,
I can also do this. Let's make what's in this cell equal to something. And let's make it equal to what's in that cell by clicking. It'll put the address in there. And I can just make it some value. How about plus 11? That will do the same thing, but this time I only need to copy the formula, and it will increase by 11 each time. So it's copying my formula and changing the relative position of what he's adding to. See how it was C2 plus 11. He automatically changed it to C3. So those are the things we're doing in Excel. Let's practice a little bit, adding up the numbers here. Remember how we do that?
so if I ever want to figure out a riddle that has the numbers, I just go to Excel.
Yeah, yeah. Here, the easy way is one click away. My little Greek sigma, standing for summation, enter, or click and then hit enter. And there I have the summation, and I can copy fill handle down that. Or if I know I want to put them all in one place, I can select them all and say, hey, put the summation there. Boom. So Excel pretty handy with that. These are the things that made Excel, some people called this the killer app for the PCs. Back when PCs were first coming out, people were thinking, I don't need a PC. What would I go buy a PC for? I can go use my, my calculator. Then people came up, or the smart programmers came up with a program called Lotus 123. And it was the granddaddy of Excel, the first Excel-like program. And people realized how they could calculate numbers and do formulas and do inventory. And Lotus Notes, Lotus 123 is what made people clamor to buy PCs. And then the PC revolution took off. So Excel is like the remnants of that revolution, almost like a virus took over. So these are cells. Remember the terminology. We have columns of numbers. I can adjust the width of a column, grabbing the edge of it. Each cell contains formulas, but I can also format the cell in various formats. I can apply formatting to cells, and we'll be doing more of that as we get on with the project. So remember, if I ever want to view what is a formula, I could click on the cell and I'll see, oh, that one's a formula. That one's a formula. But if I want to see where all my formulas are, remember that wonderful key combination, Control CTL tilde key. If I type that on my keyboard, I get to see all the formulas everywhere in my spreadsheet. Very handy if I just want to verify. I'm not just entering numbers I saw that should have been there. I'm letting Excel do the work. We want to make sure we learn how to make Excel do the work. Okay, that's about the review I wanted to do. As we continue our project now, we will be formatting the numbers. We're done entering data into our spreadsheet. To go back to our spreadsheet that we were working on, I can click on the little sheet name down there at the bottom. We're going to learn how to even rename these little sheet tabs. Here's my spreadsheet. I'm going to look at the Excel version for now. I'm going to go full screen with that. You're welcome to
Mr.
work
Manning.
365. Going full screen there. And I'm going to zoom in too as well. Well, actually not going to zoom in yet because we have all the numbers we need, but it's not in the best presentation. We want to make it look like this. This is what we want it to look like.
Whoa.
We have all the same numbers, but it's nicely centered title, a subtitle, lovely formatting and colors. And if you look closely, those numbers are nicely lined up with dollars and cents all together. Let's see, if I zoom in closer, it gets kind of fuzzy. But we're going to be putting our spreadsheet in a lovely looking format like this. But the numbers are all good right now. So the rest is prettying it up, making it look nice and professional for our printer. So that's what our goal is now. And let's just see what we're going to be doing. We're going to be centering and formatting the text in the title, centering and formatting this. And notice this is also taking over multiple cells across the top. We're going to do something called merging these cells into one long cell. We're going to be merging these as well. It's called merging and centering. Here we're going to apply a formatting to what we already have in the cell. And same thing for these. We're going to apply a style. And we'll be applying some colors, background colors. On the numbers themselves, you see some of them have a little dollar sign in front of them. Some of them have just plain decimals. You're going to learn how to display all that. Okay, let's get started on doing that then. Going to take up our goal and now proceed to making our document look as lovely as that. I'm looking for my page that has my textbook in it. Got 1,000 windows open right now. Let's see, I think it's that one. No, not that one. I better close some windows so I can find my page in the book. Let's see, it's not that one. Not that one.
Boomer, you're in here twice.
Not that one. That's a presentation I was doing in another class. Where did my file go?
I pull up 2 computers. So
You're
I can work
smart.
better.
Oh, look at Danny. He's beautiful.
There it is. I finally found my textbook. Too many windows open.
That's the problem.
Okay, so let's bring up my textbook here. Here we go. All right, so we have this plain numbers in our checkbook, in our spreadsheet. And we want to, first of all, adjust the style of that very first title. We want this to look nice, have a nice style. Now, we could figure out how to apply styles. You know what? I think I need to zoom my screen in because you can hardly read these, can you?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to adjust my screen settings. Let's see if it doesn't break anything because I want to make this visible to you. So I'm going to adjust my screen settings over here. And so let's see if we break our computer. Setting number 2 and adjust my zoom here. Let's do, let's see if I zoom in on that. Let's see what that does for me. Okay, let's see how that works for you. All right, did you see it in large? There we go. Is that a little better for you? A little easier to read? Hello?
Let me see. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so on this ribbon, what we want to do, we could adjust the color of this because we want that to be light, nice, bright, large, and green. But rather than doing it all on our own, setting our text color and the size right there, we're going to select that cell and come over here to Cell Styles.
Ooh.
And choose a style. And we're going to choose Title Style for that cell. Doesn't change what's in there. It changes the style of its display. So anytime I have the cell selected, then I can choose the style to apply to it. You see all the possible styles available here. And we're going to apply the title style to it. But we're not quite happy with it yet. We want to also make that a lovely, a new style of font and a new color. So again, I select that cell, choosing now, instead of Calibri Light, we want to choose Arial Narrow for our font. Cell selected, come up here, and find Arial Narrow. I can scroll through here. It looks for all the cool fonts. You may see I have certain fonts you probably don't have on your computer because this computer's been around and we've been installing lots of different fonts. But if I go into the A's or even start typing AR with my keyboard, there I find finally Arial Narrow.
All I have is Arial. Is that fine?
That's fine. Yep. And you're using Office 365?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll find in this case these kind of features you'll have less choices from to choose from. Same thing goes with Google spreadsheets. You don't have as many choices. Now, how many accountants really care exactly what font they have? Probably not too many. So it's probably not a big deal, but you do have more choices in the desktop application. So we've changed it to Arial Narrow, and we're going to also change the color of it. Oh, we're going to do that eventually. We'll change the color of it eventually. We're also going to apply the Arial Narrow to this one, but we're not going to make it a new style. We're just going to give it give me Arial Narrow. And notice because I used Arial Narrow recently, it should show up in my recently used fonts. All right, I guess it doesn't. I was expecting it to show up in the recently used. Huh. All right, I'll go back to Arial Narrow. Now that one, I also want it to be, do I want it to be bold there? No, we're going to make this, we're going to come back to the first one and make this one bold. So this one we have applied font, or applied a style, applied a font. Now we're going to also make it bold. Click the B, or if you hover over that, you'll see Control B will make things bold, just like in Word. And I also want to bold cell A2. Now I could have done that in one step by selecting them both and hitting Control B. I could have just selected through both and Control B makes them both bold. But they're still on the left side of my screen and they're not the right color yet. And this cell, this font size isn't quite large enough for us. We want this one to be 16 point. Right now it is 11 point. Now it looks big on your screen because I've zoomed into my screen, but we want to make that even bigger. We'll make that 16 point. I can always come back to any cell and adjust the size of the font. So that's 18, that's 16.
I think my fonts are like different by default. Is most of it 11 or 12 for you?
I think the default font is, I think, is typically 11.
Okay, mine was 12.
But that doesn't matter. What it was,
What are
as long as you know how to change the font to a specific
Okay.
number. Oh, and I want to, and just like in Microsoft Word, remember we could adjust our font there. And remember, if it's not in the list, you can always type a number and Excel will guess, enlarge the previous font to fit the number you're looking for. So if you don't see the number there, you know you want a specific size. But that's
Okay.
a more fine thing.
What size did you make the big title?
The title, when I went cell style, it automatically applied a title size of 18. But then I went and actually then formatted it with a different font and bold and left it at 18. This one
Oh, okay.
is left at 16. Now notice this isn't the same color because the title style gave it kind of a dark gray, not a completely black. But we'll be adjusting our color in a bit anyway. So this is basically the controls very much like in Word. You have all the control, very similar font choices. The thing is, whenever you select a cell, everything in there takes that format. You can't come in here and format just part of it. Oh, maybe, let's see if I can. Oh, yes, you can. If you edit it, you can format part of a word to be bold. But normally, when you select cells, everything in it takes the format you apply. But if I wanted to highlight a letter, I could. But I have to double-click and be editing it inside the cell. Otherwise, when I click on it, anything I apply applies to everything typed in that cell. Now we're going to make the color of that first font, of that first title. We want that to be a lovely bright green. A green accent 6. Now that would be the text style right there. And I click on the down arrow and I can choose colors from my theme colors or from the standard colors. This one we want to choose the top green accent 6 color. Just because that was our designer likes that color. It reminds us that we're making lots of money, that nice green. We don't like red in accounting.
Mr. Manning,
Yes.
2 things. First off, could you show me how to get the theme on there? On the Fran Gold real estate budget?
The title style, you mean?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We went over here.
There we go.
We selected a cell, and then here, cell styles. And then we chose title. And that gave it an 18-point font.
Okay.
And then we made it bold. And then we chose a different font, Arial narrow. And then we made it green.
I have 365 and I do not have the cells styles option.
Ah, let's see. I'm going to go over to 365 here for a second just to see what you're talking about.
Like I can bold it and change the color, but I cannot add the title style to the top line.
Let's see, what does it have on an option there? So I have a cell. Say I want to do the same thing there. I think I can copy that. Let me copy that and paste it there. It doesn't paste the style. Let's see. I see cell style here in Office 365 underneath table.
Yeah. Mine doesn't have that. It has the conditional formatting and the format as table in that little section, but that's it.
You can present your screen and you can see what you're talking about.
That is weird. Why would you not have the same? Yeah, go ahead and present your screen. Let me see what you got.
Take over.
Okay.
Maybe I have to stop sharing mine. Let me stop sharing mine to see.
Okay.
That's interesting because I see it right here in my Office 365. But I am a different, are you logged into Office with your Maist EDU email and everything?
I believe so.
Can you, if you click on your screen, you should see down at the bottom, Present Now in the lower right.
Mm-hmm. Can you guys see it?
Why don't I see it?
I don't see it.
Click Present Now and then click a window.
All right.
And then choose your browser window that you're looking at. Oh, there's something coming. Something's coming. That is interesting. And you are using.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, all you need to do then, since you don't have the style in there, which is strange, I'm going to figure out what's going on there. All you need to do then to match is make it 18-point, bold, Arial, and green. And we'll put that in my list of investigation. Why you're not seeing that format as table, even though I'm seeing it here in my Office 365. So I'll go back to presenting my screen now.
Shane, grow out your beard more.
What?
Grow out your beard, Shane.
What'd you say?
Keep growing out your beard.
Oh.
That's good.
Thank you. I have 365 and I see cell styles as well. Just thought you should know.
Thank you, Shane.
Okay, so you'll see my screen again in a second. So you might help if you run into these little things, just make little notes of them, and we'll maybe have an idea of what's different about Office 365. I'm hoping we don't have to we can work with 365 for the rest, and not have to. It is a little painful to install the Office app, but it does give you power. When we come to access, we're gonna have to figure that out. But I've got different ideas that might work. Okay, so back to here now. We've formatted that green and 18 point. Arial narrow. If you don't have Arial narrow, just choose Arial. And let's see what else we need to do here. Now comes something. I need to zoom out from this to do something. I want this title to be centered all the way across to column N. And this is something very common to find in Excel. I select all those cells that I want that title to be displayed and centered in. And I come up here to this little icon right here, merge and center.
Could you zoom in again, please? Thank you.
I have to zoom out just so you can see the all N to A to N. So see how I drag through that whole row of cells? And then I click merge and center. And now it's basically turned this cell into one giant cell that cuts across all of those. I could have put it in cell G, seeing that G was close to the center, and then had it line, in the right place. But this is something very common to do. Selecting multiple cells, and basically you're telling Excel, treat that all as one cell and center it nicely for me. So that's the merge and center. Another way to do that.
Where is the merge and center again?
Where do you find the merge and center?
Yes, sir.
Let me show that again here. First I select the cells, and merge and center is right up here in the middle, right by alignment. Do you see that there?
Yeah, I found it.
And do the same thing here. Now, if you did multiple cells, let's see what happens. If I try to merge and center across two rows, let's see what happens. It's going to throw away everything else. So I don't want to merge. I'll lose my monthly estimates. It will try to merge that and treat it as one gigantic cell covering multiple rows. So merge and center just that row, and merge and center this. All the way out to, oh, I made a mistake. I went all the way out to M instead of N. I'm going to fix that by just dragging through those two and merging and centering again. And there we go. Oh, if I toggle it, it turns on and off merging and centering. I can undo any merging and centering. Okay, so for a nice title across the top, merge and center has been handy. Right, now we want to do some more improving of our styles. We want to format this top row. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit now, because I need to see all my columns, because I want to select all of these in row 3. Select all the way across to column N, and I want to apply a style to this. Now I'm going to go do the style thing, and then we'll do do it manually in Office 365 since the style is gone for you. Let's see, under Cell Styles, I'm going to apply a heading 1 cell style to that. I'm going to copy and paste this over into my spreadsheet on Office 365.
Mr. Man, I think someone's snoring. I'm gonna be
Danny fell asleep. Danny fell asleep. That sounds like Danny.
I think it's Emmanuel. He's the only one with a mic on. Emmanuel, you up, buddy?
Ready.
And let's see if I do that in Office 365. Let's see if I can do that. I do have a cell styles, and it does have a heading 1 there. Now, if you don't have heading 1, let's just see what you'd have to do. If I click on it, I see that it is bold, and it is 15 point, and it has an underline underneath it, so I could underline it. Let's try doing it by hand. Pretend I'm doing it in Office 365. I could do
Mr.
it.
Manning, can you mute him? Or is it just
So.
is he just stuck snoring?
Is
for
he
all
still
of us
snoring?
here? I can hear a little bit.
That's amazing.
So if you have 365, we want to make this to match that. So I would make it 15 point, selecting my font size. Oh, there's no 15. I can type in 15. I can make it bold. And I can make it underline by choosing here, choosing a thick bottom border. And I can even make it thicker by choosing my border thickness here. Let's see, border thickness. Oh man, it gets pretty complicated with that. Let's just go ahead. If you can't do the style, just make it bold, 15 or 16, 15 point, underline it with a thick bottom border. And then, actually, you could choose them all and then apply that format. So 15 point, thick bottom border, and bold, and you'll be okay. Let me do that. Let me go ahead and do that in Office 365 here. Since if yours doesn't have a style, I'm going to go ahead and do an undo here. Go back. There we go. Oops. Redo. Control Y is a redo. Select through those. If I don't have cell styles, I will make this 15 point. Or, yeah, I'll type in 15. Oh, well, let me type in 15. 15. Make it bold. Put a thick bottom border. And I think they had a blue border too, didn't they? So let's make the border blue by going back here and selecting all those cells. And let's go to border color, make it a dark blue.
Mr. Manning, I don't see your screen anymore.
Uh-oh. It says I'm presenting to everyone.
I see you. Autumn, you might have to just click on the little people tab and then click on
Yeah,
Mr.
Got it?
I can pin him. Oh. Okay, well, I did something weird and it worked, so we're going to go with it.
Something weird. Okay, so now we have that formatted in total style, or sorry, heading 1. All right, now there's more to do. We want the other cells here to also be in heading style. Now, rather than make you go through all the work of doing all that over again, although it's not bad to know cell styles, watch what I can do. If I like this style, I can click on that cell and then click the paintbrush. Not many people know about this format painter. They just see this little paintbrush, have no clue what that is. Now you as Excel ninjas are going to know that paintbrush.
You can call in and they will put the order together.
Click on that paintbrush and drag through, painting that same format onto those cells. Isn't that the coolest thing you've ever seen? Let me do that again. Format painter, I like this format. I turn on the paintbrush, paint that format onto other cells. There's my format painter. So I don't have to even remember how I did this. Once I got the cell looking like I want, I can come back here and paint it. But I could have also, it was only 2 clicks to get that cell style of heading, did the same thing. But if you're in Office 365 and had to go through all that work to format it yourself, you might find it's a lot easier. Once I have it right and got my border color in Office 365, Let me do that in Office 365. Make sure it still works in Office 365. I'm going to turn my border color blue. I don't know why it didn't show up. The border color, maybe it's not, maybe it's too dark blue. Let's make that blue. And now, if I like that style, it's not turning it blue. What's going on? Automatic. It's not turning my border. Maybe I have to go back to my border style. Maybe once I say blue, maybe I have to say, give me the border again. Yeah, finally it turned to blue. Once I've gone through all the work of making this appear, I can now do the paintbrush there and paint that nice format across those. That's only, you only have to do that if you don't have the cell styles there, which for some reason yours is just, are you using a different browser? Perhaps it's a browser problem. Or that's one of my guesses why that little piece of that table wouldn't show up. We'll come back, maybe figure out why that didn't show up for you. Okay, so back in Excel, we now have those styles applied. And it's starting to look a little prettier as I zoom out. It's starting to look a little more like a professional table. Now I want to apply colors. This will make it even snazzier. Oh, we also want to apply a total style to this one. This one means cell style of total there. And also a cell style of total here. Drag through, click the style. Now it's looking.
What style did you just do?
That was the total style. So I selected through, went to cell styles.
Yeah.
Total.
Okay.
Now we're going to apply some coloring to our cells. Here's the easiest way to do it. First of all, we're going to turn the background of all of them to be a light green. And then we'll come back and paint dark green in every other cell. So drag through those. Background color of a light green. Once I click off it, I'll see the color. I'm going to do the same thing here. Drag through all of them, not the total row, and apply a color. It remembers the last color I choose, so all I have to do is click once, and it fills all those with light green. Now, I want this style. I'm going to eventually be making this bold, so I'm ignoring that ugliness right now. Now I want every other cell to be a slightly darker green. Now we're going to learn later how we can use conditional formatting to do this. But I'm going to select through those cells, and now something new. Here comes something new. Listen carefully. Control and click lets me select more cells that are not connected to the previous cells. That's called non-contiguous selection. Control, click, and drag. Control key, click, and drag. And one more control key, click, and drag. And now I can apply a slightly darker green to those cells. Isn't that lovely? Starting to look like a professionally done spreadsheet. Now, if you can't get the control working, you have to go one at a time. Select, turn it green, select, turn it green. But this way you can select, control select multiple disconnected cells. Now one more, that very last row, we want that to be that's a very special row. So we're going to make it dark green, and because it's so dark, we need to make our font light. Selecting through that last row, clicking and dragging. And I'm going to apply a dark background. And change my font color to white. I could have applied a cell style of accent 6 also, if I have the cell style showing. But it's good to know how to do it on your own as well. So select through that whole net row, apply a dark green, change my font to white. Now that's not looking too bad, except our accountants are still not very happy about this because our numbers are in horrible format for accounting. No accountant will accept this as a proper document because our numbers are not showing that these are dollars and cents. We want to put the numbers in a nice format. And this is where we learn about some more styles of numbers right up here. Number styles. And let's take a look now at these numbers right across the top. Well, actually, all of our numbers we want to be showing in comma style by default. Now they show you in the book selecting different cells and applying comma style, but I'm going to show you a faster way. Since any numbers that show up I want in comma style, I'm just going to select everything on my worksheet by clicking up there or clicking Control A and clicking comma style. It puts all my cells that have something in them in a nice comma separated numbers with 2 decimal points. And where I didn't have entries, it left it alone. So basically what I'm doing is telling Excel by doing a select all or click there and then comma style is, unless I tell you otherwise, put numbers in comma style. That 2 decimal places and commas separating the 1,000 places. Now we can come back and for a few selected rows, indicate that we're dealing with money. And the rows that we want to show that way is row 4. I select through row 4 and I click the accounting format, accounting number format. Watch what happens when I do that. Same thing, except it puts a dollar sign to the left, making it clear that we're dealing with US dollars. And don't panic if you see all hashtags in a cell. That just means there's not enough room to show the number that's there. The easiest way to fit a column is to just double click on the edge of a column. It will automatically expand that column so that number shows up. I can manually adjust my column width, but double clicking on it is a faster way, getting it to fit just very nicely. A couple more rows we want to apply accounting style to, or I think it's the top row of every table. Let me make sure this. Yes, the top row, and then, oh, actually, we're doing the total row as well. We're in the top row and the total rows. So let's do that again. Total row numbers, we want to be in accounting style. Select through, click the dollar sign. The top row of this table, they like to be in accounting format. Select to the top row, dollar sign. Slide down to the total row, select through, put the number in accounting format. And then the very last row, select through, and put that one also in accounting format. Now there's just a little left to do here. We want to make our row headings a little nicer. Our row headings aren't formatted very nicely. But let's make sure everyone's caught up this far. You can get your numbers in style like this. I'm going to zoom in for you just so you see what we want the numbers to look like. And I'm going to double click my home tab so you can see more of my data. This is what we want it to look like. Zoom out just a little bit. There's what we want our numbers to look like.
So, Mr. Manning.
Yep.
We use this computer in Germany when we lived there. And so it has 12.000, comma 00. Oh, it's just kind of funny. It has the commas and the periods switched for thousands.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought math was universal across the world of where you put decimal points and commas.
Yeah, it's weird.
Those Germans. Okay, so everyone good with that? We're almost done with this first project. You ready to go on to the next few details here?
How did you space out? Is there any way to like space out the cells so that like it's all?
They all fit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Here's the easiest way to make sure nothing's overlapping or not fitting right. The easiest way is to drag through the gray column heading and then double click on any border between columns. And it automatically fits the data to not be hidden within a cell. That's the easiest way. I think I can even do a select all and double click on any column border, and it automatically adjusts my columns to fit. That double click is a pretty nice thing. Say I have a couple that aren't fitting right, double click, and it fits it nicely. Is that what you're talking about? Having them all the columns the right width?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Now you can do it manually.
It seems not to not be working.
You have to have the whole. You have to have the whole column selected. You can't just have the cell selected. You have to have select through the gray, so it's the entire column.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it won't do the auto fit. It's like if I just fit some cells, double clicking only selects that particular column.
Where do you double click?
Right on the border. When you have the line with the double arrow on it, that's when the double click will work. Sometimes, depending on how far you're zoomed out, you can't get that to show up. Right?
Yeah, mine's.
And I think it'll. Let me try if that works in Office 365 as well. I believe it should.
All right.
Office
It's not working.
Let's try it. Too small. Double click. Oh, it worked in Office 365 for me. Running under Chrome.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. It's weird for me.
Yeah, and you're using 365?
Yes, sir.
What browser?
Chrome.
Okay. Well, can you manually adjust your column?
No, it won't even move for that. It's only with the total on the bottom. That's what looks the most off for me.
Huh.
Do you think it has to deal with the cell style?
I don't think so. It shouldn't. Let me apply the comma to all those, and now apply the. Let's see if the control. Yeah, it looks like the control. Oh, the control select doesn't seem to work in Office 365 for me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Another difference there. So I'll just manually put those in the format. Oops. Yeah, I guess we're doing a little more research here, figuring out Office 365 compared to Excel. So you're going to be even more an expert than anyone else at this program. Knowing
You already know.
65. And the thing is, you're actually have an advantage because a lot of people are moving to the cloud. And now you can say, not only do you know Excel, but you have experience with Excel in the cloud with Office.com. And there's one isn't showing up. Let's see if I double click. That did it for me. I double click on the edge and it auto fitted my net.
Easier.
I'm gonna put that in total style and put it in counting format. As long as you can manually set it, if the column doesn't adjust perfectly, you can just manually adjust your column width.
Mine's not even manually adjusting though.
Okay. Well, the only thing left to do now is these row headings are pretty ugly. We kind of have a mix of formats here. Let's see what we want to do with those. I think we at least want to make them bold. Oh, but we are running out of time. We will stop here. We're almost done. The only thing we have left is to do a pie chart. We'll save that for next time. I'm going to stop recording. You're welcome to stick around and chat or keep working on it. If you have any questions, I'd be able to help you as well. But I'm going to stop recording. And it does show up in the calendar. And I'll make sure that I save that calendar link so you can view previous recordings.